I'm studying chemical engineering.
I'm studying international business with sustainability.
And I have just finished my degree doing civil engineering.
I study systems engineering.
I'm not an engineering student, so I was just going in pretty blind, and I think I've come out with a world of knowledge that I didn't even know before. And I'm actually looking into studying engineering once I'm done with my international business and sustainability.
So worth it. I would do it all again.
Ended up being one of the best experiences I've ever had.
It had to have been the most amazing experience of my whole life.
You always see them and you're like, oh, I don't know if it's that cool. 100% it's that cool. It's everything that they make it out to be.
I didn't feel that from the classes I was taking and my major in general approach sustainability the way I wanted to approach it.
I didn't know anything about renewable energies at the time, and I didn't know anything about Iceland.
I got to kind of do the green program last year as like a kind of branch out away from the classroom to find something interesting and kind of quirky to do that aligned with kind of like where I want to go with my career and the things I enjoy.
I just kind of saw it as this way for me to kind of pursue like what I'm passionate about. Renewable energy, which is what the Alum program is about, is kind of always been there for me, and it's really important to me. So it was just kind of this stepping stone for me to get more involved with it and do some things that my school doesn't offer me and meet some cool people.
What we do is develop short-term experiential education for our world's most pressing issues in sustainable development, getting students outside the classroom and into the field and really giving students firsthand experience. All of our programs are connected to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. If you guys maybe aren't as familiar with sustainability, maybe it's not something you study, it's sort of a side interest, I would definitely recommend checking out the UN SDGs, they're called for short. Really, they're a global agenda that the world is using to move towards a clean energy future and resolve and help alleviate all the issues that are coming up as a result of climate change. And each of our programs has a different topic and issue that we address.
We were founded in 2009 in Rutgers University, and now we have grown to about 3,000 students and over 3 programs. And we have received applications from students from 70 different countries and over 400 universities. Our programs run from about 8 to 10 days. They're driven to provide our students with the most impact in the short amount of time. So, we're providing our students with these cutting-edge academic experiences, these experiences in facilities in their country that they're visiting. And our students get to go into facilities in these countries and getting an opportunity to go and meet with professionals who are implementing these topics that our students are talking about in their classrooms right now and in reality. And we also provide our students with these amazing bucket list adventures and these cultural immersion experiences within these countries. So we want to provide them with these 3 pillars of in-depth and stimulating academic experience, a career acceleration opportunity by meeting professionals in the field, as well as these amazing adventures that they wouldn't get to experience otherwise.
No matter what destination and adventure you choose to come on, when you commit to coming on the green program, you're always going to have the same outcomes and educational model on every program. The reason we do that is to allow students to maximize their winter, spring, and summer break. So our programs, like I said, run during winter break, the spring, and the summer. So, if you still have an eye on an internship or, would like to have a job during the summer or have summer classes, or, you just have a really rigorous academic schedule, the green program is an awesome option because you can get all the best elements of study abroad. I know most students, when they look back on their collegiate careers, the number one regret is not getting out of the country. We want to make sure, even though our model is short-term, that students can have that study abroad experience, even with everything else they have going on.
Reykjavik University is one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever been in. The classroom setting was so inviting, and I've never been so encouraged to speak my mind and think outside of the box and have these ideas be actually counted towards something like our Capstone project. It was just a educational experience. I've never received anything like this before. Our teachers were awesome and they were super helpful, and they answered every question I've had?
We got to go like inside a hydro dam plant. We actually got to go on the floor with the turbines because it's still connected to the grid, but it's not operating. They first built it in the 1920s. We actually got to go on the floor and like look at the turbines and like see how they work. The guy who was giving us a tour like explained the whole process to us, and it was just really fun. We also toured a geothermal plant and another hydro dam that's currently operational. Just like seeing how everything like fits together and getting to actually look at it and talk to people who worked at the plants was just like, it really helped like solidify the concepts we were learning about in class. I think all of the site visits were pretty awesome. Just like some of the people we got to meet there, the people who were like lecturing us on geothermal, on hydropower, they're professionals in their field. They know what they're talking about. And just like I just never would have had the opportunity to learn from people who understood it so well and also lived in a country that values it so highly.
All right, so what did you just do there?
I just took the rapeseed oil, which is the biodiesel, and drank it and then put it directly into the bus.
What do you think about that?
I think that's absolutely amazing to see it go from the fields to production to into the bus. It's crazy. An awesome idea.
Iceland pretty much entirely runs on renewables. I think like 90% of their homes are heated by geothermal, and pretty close to 100% of their electricity comes from hydropower. It's just unmatched. Like they interact with it every single day. And there was nowhere in the States where I would have gotten that experience.
All of our programs are accredited, so we work with universities in country. These universities develop coursework exclusively for green program students, just for us, that focus on the topic area. The professors that we work with are experts in their field. And again, the credit process, you guys might be asking, how do I figure out if I can get credit? I'm not sure if I can. The answer to that basically is we have program packages, which include syllabi, and you can easily take that program package to your advisor, sit down, they'll review it and give you an idea of how credit can transfer. You know, we've had students who have pursued general elective credit for our program. Sometimes it transfers directly. With every student, it's different, but we can walk you through that process to see how the classwork can transfer to your university.
My advisor did tell me that once everything was finalized with the university that like it should be no problem getting it to count towards. I have free electives. We figured it would just slide right in. So plus it's way cooler to talk about than anything that like any other class I would have taken at school. It's way better to say, yeah, I went to Iceland for 10 days and learned about all these things that I'm passionate about. It gives you something to talk about as opposed to like the generic elective.
Mine's quite different. Being from the UK, the education system just kind of works very differently to the States. So I didn't manage to get in the credit, and I think it's just because it's quite fresh in the UK. So I've tried to work with a few people this year and with Stephen to try and see how credit could be put in, but it's a bit difficult over here. But again, with me, the credit wasn't so important. I was there kind of thinking that I'm investing in a network for the future.
We really, like I said, want to see our students succeed in their future. So we're not only focused on providing this amazing experience, but also, you know, helping carry you into your future as well.
That includes facility access at top renewable energy facilities. That includes community visits to actually see firsthand how issues are affecting communities. We are really about getting students out there, actually getting into the industry, talking with industry professionals. And a lot of our program is about the actual experience in country, but we do so much for our students to make sure that even though your program with us is only 8 to 10 days, that there are so many positive benefits that you have even after the program. We have our leadership development programs for alumni. We also have a workforce development platform that's working to connect students directly with like-minded companies and organizations. We also have a lot of other opportunities through events and different things that, again, encourage our alumni to continue to further their personal and professional growth even after the program. 99% of our alumni say that the Green program in some ways helped refine their purpose, either professionally or personally, or has accelerated their career in some way.
We can either help you maybe figure out what you want that career path to be, maybe helping you make the connections to make that possible.
A lot of students will bring up our program in interviews. That's been really positive. Our students, regardless of their field of study, generally do stay connected with sustainability or something related to positive impact after the program.
I've got a job lined up upon graduation with a company in the UK called Arup, and they are kind of known for being very sustainability focused. They're kind of owned by themselves, so they only join in on projects that they really kind of feel they can relate to, that have like a humanitarian side towards it and have an impact on kind of society as we know it. The green program helped me kind of in my interview showcase that I've gone out there and found a program and a group of people in a network that kind of align with their values, and they can kind of see that that's also my values. So yeah, I mean, an interview, it gave me like a lot to talk about. I think they actually had to tell me to shut up at one point because we didn't have much time left, but it means you can fill the time with good things. You've got something to talk about. It shows there's more to you than just like a kind of a degree at the end of the day. Everyone comes out of university with a degree. It's kind of the extra things that you do that define you and show that you're really passionate about the things you want to do. So the green program has given me kind of the biggest kind of highlight on my CV to say, I'm inspired to do something that's kind of better for the world. And if you're the company that has those values too, then we're going to go far. It offers something different aside from your kind of studies to add in and show that you've got other interests, and it gives them kind of more questions to talk about. So like if they're going to ask you questions, you want them to ask you questions in an interview where you actually have an answer for it. And the green program, you want to talk about it, so it's not where you're kind of struggling for words and you're a bit nervous. You start to kind of get excited about the experience that you had, and then they can kind of sense that you're feeling a bit more comfortable in an interview and you're talking about things that you actually enjoy. And that goes so far in an like potential employer looking to kind of see, is this the person that we want working for us, and what are they going to add to our company?
By enrolling and attending one of our programs, you'll also be enrolled in our alumni network, which is about 3,000 students and growing now. It's a space for professional development, for job searching, for resume building. We have alumni that are working at GE, SpaceX, Tesla, NASA.
We also have alumni at organizations that are smaller startups and mid-level, from all those different arenas. So when you graduate as an alumni, you're connected to that network of over 2,500 students from around the world who have studied different things. They're at different schools, but all have that mindset, that they're working towards a more sustainable future and a career that connects in some way back to positive social impact. In particular, I do want to highlight Inspire Energy. They're actually a local company in Philadelphia and one of our first hiring workforce development platform partners. So we actually directly connect our alumni with jobs at Inspire, and then in return, Inspire donates to our scholarship fund for diverse and underserved students.
We send a lot of great blurbs and information and also career development emails out to our alumni. And then we also have an alumni network on LinkedIn. And if the student comes to us asking, for any connection, we will try to connect them with somebody that we find will be the best fit for what they need. Another thing that our alumni get opportunity to do is further travel adventures that are only available to our alumni. We provide our students with any conferences that are going on in different areas within sustainability, within renewable energy, whatever we think could be of use to our alumni, we make sure to provide them. So we're there as that support system, as well as the thousands of other alumni that are there to support you as well.
You keep in kind of contact with the people that you met on your own program through the kind of various chats that you set up. After having a chat with Melissa to be an ambassador, so I've done that in Sheffield, which is fresh because, again, like I said, the green program is not as well known in the UK, but it gave me like an opportunity to do that. So I mean, I've stayed connected with the program in various ways, be it with the headquarters, talking to the other ambassadors on like techniques that we could use in presentations, as well as I found out there's more ambassadors within the UK who I've made contact with, and we've tried to get things set up. So there's various avenues to keep in contact with alumni and the kind of program on a whole.
To run through Amanda Berta really quick, a student at Penn State University, also an engineer. Amanda's really awesome because I think she's a great student to exemplify how someone can take advantage of all the opportunities post-program. So she attended our Iceland program. She represented us as a Green Ambassador at PSU. She attended our alumni reunion in Thailand for free as part of our ambassador program, and even through our influencer program for students who aren't alumni. You can earn a program for free or at a reduced price for referring students to our programs. So she referred 10 students from Penn State and was able to come on our alumni reunion for free. Students are also able to do that to be able to afford just our traditional green program for free. She was able to leverage her experience to help land a job at GE, and we actually loved working with her so much and felt like she was such a mentor to our students that we brought her back to Iceland and paid her to be a mentor on our programs to work with future green students. So again, totally runs through some of the opportunities we have for students after the program. This is an opportunity where we ask our students to come up with a real-world business solution to a sustainability challenge that's actually happening. So it's very entrepreneurial. It challenges our students to actually think about what's happening in the world and how technology is actually being used, gets them thinking outside the classroom. And I'll say from a career perspective, this is a really awesome opportunity to be able to work in an interdisciplinary team. In terms of, when we say career focused, being able to work on an interdisciplinary team on a very real world project like this is such an awesome thing to have on your resume. With our Capstone project, we push students to follow a business model canvas. So we push them to look at how their business will affect local communities, how it'll interact with local governments, really, how is it going to run financially, looking at it from so many different lenses and different perspectives, which again is a skill set that is really useful no matter what career you go into. I would say for almost all of our students, except for maybe business majors who are coming in, this is something that maybe they haven't had the opportunity to do in their classes in terms of actually thinking about real world applications for things that they're learning in the classroom. I'll also say as well, you don't need to come in with a ton of experience or knowledge on a certain topic. The Capstone project is meant to be a learning experience for all the students involved, and that's both in teamwork as well as just a sharing of knowledge from different disciplines.
We have students that are coming from engineering backgrounds, as well as business, policy, architecture, liberal arts, and other STEM majors.
So don't be intimidated by it. A lot of students come in from varying degrees of backgrounds and disciplines and have a really positive experience with the Capstone.
From talking to faculty, we realized that there was a problem going on that week, actually, that we went there. The levels of sulfur in the air in Reykjavik were above safety limits. So while the city was thinking on how to address the problem and everything, we decided to find a solution for ourselves and then propose the solution in front of the faculty. So that was my project in Iceland, and it turned out to be really cool because it involved in talking to a lot of professors and researching and applying also a lot of the knowledge that we acquired from the plant visits, especially because the sources of sulfur came from geothermal energy and from the production of it. So that was pretty cool. For Japan, my team decided to propose a system of how to recycle nuclear energy in Japan, which is not allowed in the US, but is being applied in Europe already. So we research on how they do it in Europe and try to find a way to use it over there. And that also involved talking with a lot of faculty and yeah.
My capstone project was called Rise Incorporated, and our group created a organization that basically would work with private developers and local municipal governments to create green communities. It would be primarily based in towns and areas that are highly affected by floods, high winds, and prone to natural disasters.
And listening to the locals talk about the problems with kind of polluted seawaters and so forth. So we looked at kind of sustainable drainage of the cities and how we could look at I think we looked at permeable pavement as a way of, attenuating stormwater on the road surfaces and trying to make sure that the water that was getting discharged into the sea wasn't going to like further affect the waters that had already been, the kind of damage that had already been done. And it was cool because we had like a few different perspectives as a group. I think there was 5 of us, and we're all coming at it from a different perspective. So my perspective was more like engineering and how it would work. There's another guy who had kind of like a better connection. He was from Florida and he surfed, so he could really understand, the effect that it had on it. So it was awesome to try and fit everyone's kind of perspectives together, an idea, and come towards a solution that we think we could, implement in Hawaii, but and also in other places across the world.
My capstone dealt with bringing solar energy to rural communities in the states that are in natural electricity monopolies. So they only have like one electricity provider, and a lot of times the rates can be really, really high and it's not affordable, and they don't maybe have the money for the upfront costs of their own solar array. Actually, we were really lucky. We had a girl who studies like energy policy, security, and justice. So she looked a lot at like the social aspects of people having like fair access to energy. Yeah, we just kind of ran with it. We did a case study in West Virginia because it is coal country normally. So we looked a lot at like finding these communities that maybe are like lower socioeconomically and bringing rooftop solar to them so that they have access to a clean, lower cost alternative. And then also at the same time, we looked at like increasing education in a part of the country that like statistically has been so focused on fossil fuels, and working on educating them on renewable energy and also providing them with resources to better improve their standard of living and their education and their health.
Our students have been able to take these actually into the field, have been able to get research funding for them, actually turn them into businesses, continue their capstone projects back on their university. It's always so impressive what students are, one, able to come up with, and then B, how they're able to use their capstone projects even after the program. Anyone from a freshman to a senior, even if you're not a student, we have had young professionals travel with us, as well as recent high school graduates. As long as you are 18 or over, you are eligible to apply to our programs. So no matter who you are, I would encourage you to apply. We don't have a minimum GPA requirement. A majority of the students who attend our program are from STEM majors, but our programs are open to students from all majors and all different disciplines. And that's one of really the awesome things students walk away with is, that network of students from universities around the world from different degrees. So, we have students who ask, Amanda, I love the green program. I'm not sure which program to attend, or, am I even able to attend this program if it's not necessarily my background or what I study? And almost always the answer is yes. The purpose of our programs is to give you exposure into a certain area that you're interested in learning more, or hone an area that you've already been passionate and knowledgeable in. No matter what your discipline, what you study, even if you're out of school, our programs are open to everyone. And if you're not sure which one to attend, our team would be glad to talk to you about your personal goals and which program would be the best fit for you. In terms of fitting in on the program, it's definitely a positive environment. I will say that a lot of people who are professionals actually find it so inspiring to be around young people and be able to give their professional and career experience back to people who are maybe just a freshman at university, are lost, not sure what they want to do, what they want to study, and are able to help mentor younger students. So again, I would say that's actually one of the best parts about the program is the diversity of each group that we bring abroad. And program capacity ranges anywhere from smaller groups, around 10, all the way up to full capacity for our Iceland programs is 45. I wouldn't say that there is an ideal timeline. However, I will say the green program, similar to a lot of experiences you may have in college, is very transformational, and it can really help you figure out where you want to take your degree or where you want to take your career. So that being said, if you are a younger student, or maybe you're an older student who is just feeling sort of lost or kind of needs some more direction on what it is you want to study, having an experience like the Green program to kind of help give you some more direction and refine your interest is definitely better to have on the earlier end. So I will say that students who do attend the Green program on the earlier side of their degrees say it's been so instrumental in helping give them more direction. Whereas with our older students, you know, say juniors and seniors, say, oh my gosh, this program was such a great resume builder. It's really helped me think a little bit more about what jobs I'm actually going to apply for, and was such a great, again, professional and personal development experience. So I think there are positive benefits either way. It just sort of depends on where you are with your needs and your degree or career.
The bonding between the students was amazing. I mean, in terms of demographics, especially in Japan, there was a couple students that were already graduated. They were about to start their first job and their professional life, but they still went to a program, and I became really close friends with them. And I mean, they did tell me one of the things was that they wished that they went earlier, but even with that, it was such a great experience for them. And I've talked actually with a couple of friends from the programs after the program ended, and they all say that they went back to school or their job with a different point of view. And in terms of majors, like, it's interdisciplinary, especially for the Capstone projects, because in my experience, both of my Capstone projects were completed with people. I'm chemical engineering, but there was some people from like business majors, political science, computer science, and everything. So when we were about to, when we had to do all the business plan side of the project, not only the technical side, then they helped and they contributed so much. I learned so many things I didn't know how to do. So it was a win-win situation for all of the team members.
All of our itineraries are inclusive as well. So when you step onto the program in your new country, you don't have to worry about a thing, and we're there to provide you with a really unique and special opportunity. So we want to take you on an awesome ride. We really strive to provide our students, as I said before, with a really balanced experience of having these really amazing moments in a classroom and having stimulating conversations with their classmates and the professors, and then having those topics be directly translated to a site visit or a facility tour, and then maybe translating that into a cultural immersion experience.
And this is just an example of an actual itinerary from a day in Iceland. So students in Iceland would wake up, in an Icelandic farmhouse. I do want to emphasize that we know that food and being comfortable is important. So in our destinations, we do our best to source food locally. They're authentic meals. In Iceland, our food comes from the local guest houses. It's prepared by local Icelandic natives and is all family style. So that's just an example of, how we make sure everything is authentic from the beginning to the end, and you're getting as much of a real connection with the destination as possible. So students will wake up, take a class on geothermal energy at Reykjavik University's Iceland School of Energy. We'll take you to a leading geothermal facility, one of the top in the country. And actually one of the professors that we have is one of the people who helped build that facility. So again, when I say expert, I mean it. The next thing, students will have lunch in Geotown. That's an entire town in Iceland that is run on geothermal energy, and we stay at a restaurant that cooks their food using geothermal energy. In the afternoon, students will take that geothermal hot spring hike, and it really brings everything full circle from, again, that class in the morning, seeing the facility, and then here you actually get to go out in nature and see, the actual processes in place that make that facility possible. And lastly, we'll have dinner. And then finally, there's capstone project development. Again, our programs are really intensive in that we make sure you're getting a meaningful experience, making the most of your time in country, and are getting a variety of experiences as well.
Every day we were told, kind of get up around this time, meet here, and then you kind of never knew what you were going to do. So it was kind of added to the excitement, and kind of like the surprise of what you'd be doing. And it meant like every time you did something pretty like awesome. You're like never could have expected that to happen.
We have guides that are local, so can provide insight into how local communities are dealing with these issues. There is also a community service element of our Peru program, which is really unique. It was really awesome that students, one of their capstone projects was to develop a greenhouse for a local school and country. And now that school turned that capstone project into an actual greenhouse that students at that school actually use and that our students help to build. So it's really awesome in that we have this full circle relationship with our partners and communities that we work with in Peru.
And all of our programs have a mission to be as local, as authentic as possible in supporting the local ecosystem there. So that goes into the food and housing that's within the program as well. We try to make that as, as local and as authentic experience as possible. In our Iceland program, our students get an opportunity to stay at a local guest house. In Japan, our students get to go within the community and see where they are revitalizing their community from this disaster and see how they can be involved in that rebuilding as well and where that rebuilding is happening.
So the first 4 nights we were there, we stayed at a guest house. The lady who runs the guest house is named Helga, and she was the sweetest woman I've ever met. She cooked us the best food, and she was just like very accommodating and helpful to us. She let us play with her dogs, so that was a definite positive. And then we also we got to like give back a little bit. We planted trees. Iceland has a really big problem with erosion just because it has very loose soil, and when it was first settled, they did a lot of logging. So we actually got to go plant birch trees near one of the volcanoes to kind of like help with like revegetating the island and like helping to slow down the erosion. And just we did a lot of stuff like in the community. Like we went to local restaurants and we like met with the locals. And there was just a lot of opportunities to like really get involved. It wasn't like we were just there, we were just tourists. We like actually like got immersed in the culture and like got to meet people. And it was funny because on our last day, one of our guides was like, well, I guess we'll upgrade you from tourists now. He's like, you guys can come back now and say that you know it here. We had a lot of opportunities to get involved locally.
Our staff in country are experts. Our staff in Iceland are actually the national first responders. So in the event of a natural disaster in Iceland, they are the ones who respond to the scene. So again, all of our students are safe, they're in good hands. You'll see our Japan program focuses on disaster mitigation and nuclear to renewable transition. Japan is such an awesome destination to learn about this. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but back in 2011, the coast of Japan had the nuclear meltdown at Daiichi nuclear power plant as a result of the recent natural disaster. So essentially now we bring students to Japan to actually learn how Japan is turning the country more towards a renewable energy future in response to that natural disaster. Here you can see our students actually visit the Daiichi nuclear power plant where the disaster happened. One thing I do want to highlight for any parents watching, I'm leading with this. I do want to say that we work, all of our staff are certified in top, industry certifications related to health and safety. So this tour is a safe experience. We're making sure that, we're not putting our students into any dangerous situations and are mitigating risks the right way.
In terms of the nuclear plant, they did a really good job on explaining us first what we were going to see, what all the safety measures were. After visiting the plant, I can say that it's pretty safe, and it's an amazing thing to see that actually you were in the site that exploded back in 2011.
But again, this is what I mean when we say we bring students to top facilities, get them exclusive access. Our applications are rolling. So all the spots on our program fill on a first come, first served basis. They do fill quickly. I would recommend the sooner you can get an application in, the better. Huge thing that we're here for is journey support. So, once you apply to our program, you're not committed to attend, only after you secure your spot. So even by being accepted, once you're doing that, we can give you some more details behind the process behind funding and credit. Like I mentioned, that's an easy sit down with your advisor, and we can provide you the syllabi. We do everything to make sure you're actually prepared for your trip, from helping you with a packing list. We talk to students, help them with visa paperwork, X, Y, and Z. Basically anything that you guys need and have questions about, our team is here to help you with.
we know at the Green program that maybe our program fees don't necessarily compare to your, all-inclusive spring break of $750 to Cancun. We believe, and our alumni do too, that there's these long-term benefits to attending a Green program that more than justify the cost. And so our programs range from about $3,800 to $4,600, and like I said, the program itinerary is fully inclusive. So your program fee will include your food, housing, and transportation in country, your academics, your facility tours, the adventure excursions you're going on, the staff that's on board, as well as your pre-education content, and then also your enrollment into our alumni network. And so what it doesn't include will be your flights, any travel and medical insurance, and then any discretionary funds for your program. We know that this is, there might be some money constrictions there, and we totally recognize that and want to help you through that to make your Green program experience possible. And there's definitely tons of resources out there to help you fund your program. And we're here to help you do that today, to brainstorm those ideas and see how some other students have made their Green program happen. So one of the top ways that students fund their program is through university funding. And this is usually my first method that I talk to students about. So going to your department head, a favorite professor, or an advisor and seeing if there's any funding available for a program such as this. You can look at travel grants, your study abroad office, and this could be a really great avenue. And it's more about presenting the program to your professor or your department head to really understand why you want to go on this program. And then another part is that our programs are fully accredited. So that means that there's potential to receive credit for your program. That's something that you'll have to work out with your home university, but depending on the program, there is credit available to help, chunk down those credits that we know we all have to get down on by graduation. So this is an amazing opportunity to have an awesome adventure and then also get some credit for your program. And then also justifies receiving, university funding. And it's just about asking and seeing what's available and presenting, the best case of why you want to travel with us and go on this adventure. We provide you guys with a ton of resources to help you make that happen. Me and my colleague Kelsey, as well as the rest of our team, we're very collaborative, and we want you guys to succeed and make the Green program possible. We can provide you with the resources that we can of what your university may need to approve funding. But it's really, just about putting your feelers out there and seeing what's available within your department, and then maybe looking within your study abroad, doing some research on travel grants. We do have some university partnerships where we know that there's some funding available, or we have a relationship with them. And we have some partnerships with UPenn, Drexel, Penn State, to name a few. We always try to connect our potential student with any connection that we have that knows about the Green program, whether that's an alumni or a professor who we have worked with in the past. We will always try to connect you with them so that they can provide you information from their experience or any opportunities that are available at your university. And then there's another great opportunity to not only lower your program costs, but also to get more involved in the Green program. So this is available for our accepted students, our Green Influencer program, which is a program where students can sign up and then become an advocate for the Green program and our mission and your mission for sustainable development on your campus. And essentially what that looks like is that when you could do outreach to your friends, families, networks, professors on campus, and if you get 5 students to attend a program, you could receive your program fee for half price. And if you get 10 students to attend the program, you can even get it for free. So another really famous or a really popular way that students have helped fund their program in the past is through crowdfunding resources like GoFundMe or Indiegogo, to make like a social sharing campaign to receive support from their friends, their family, their networks to go on their programs. Even like student organizations, email, coming up with these campaigns, and even something as simple as explaining as why the green program is something that was going to have an effect on their lives and be important to their studies or their personal professional development. Just don't be afraid to ask, put the feelers out there and see what's available at your university. Maybe try something different. You never know what could come out of it. If you have any financial aid that you have for school, this could be a really great avenue to go down as well to help fund your program. With many financial aid programs, as long as you receive credit for your program, you should be able to leverage your financial aid for your program. You'll definitely want to check in with your advisor or a department head to ensure that the certain financial aid program that you are involved in can be utilized in this way. So our scholarship is only available for students that are accepted into our programs. They are available for students that are low income but high potential student leaders who wouldn't necessarily be able to afford the program otherwise. The funding is fluctuating, so they go by seasons and when funding is available.
Let me just start off with, my department is pretty small, but I'm pretty sure if you asked in any size department, you could figure something out. So my advisor actually emailed me about the green program a while ago, at the beginning of last year. She said, hey, I haven't looked into this, but I think you might be really interested in going to their Iceland program because, like I said, I've always kind of been the environmentalist in the group. And I was like, oh, sure, I'll look at it. Looked at it, was like, oh, I can't afford it, kind of forgot about it. And then my department head actually came to me and he said, hey, I really want you to go to this. And I had to apply. So he's like, if you get accepted and if you can figure out your plane ticket, we'll pay for you to go. It was a little finagling, but my school has a general fund that the departments can pull from to send students on trips like this. So my department chair and then our office aide, who is a gift from God, we kind of did all of the groundwork and we pulled through our accounting department. And I didn't do a lot of the groundwork. I have to credit my department head with that. But once I said, hey, I would love to go, but I can't, it would have to be funded. Everybody was really helpful in helping me figure it out. My university covered all of my costs except for my plane ticket. I guess what I did for my chair is I made him a spreadsheet and I explained, this is how much we would need. These are all the deadlines. This is the cost. If we pay before this date, there's a discount. Kelsey also sent me a cost breakdown sheet that kind of explained what the program fee covered. And I just kind of smashed that together in a file and sent it on its merry way. And yeah, I just had some conversations at my university with the people kind of in charge of our fund and explaining to them why I wanted to go, why it was important to me, and how it would benefit me in the long run, because they want to hear I'm going to learn and I want to do stuff with renewable energy. So going here and learning about this is a good use of my time, a good use of our funding.
My fundraising kind of got a bit panicked because I accepted very late and was like, right, I need to somehow find £4,500 in about 8 weeks. So I did a lot of the stuff that you said, university funding, managed to somehow squeeze some money out of that. But I kind of knew it wasn't going to be enough. And I had a chat with the person who was supporting me most at university of trying to find the funding, and he was like, you need to do something big and bold. So I set up a GoFundMe page and effectively promised to dye my hair green as soon as I reached enough money. So yeah, I got to, I think, about £2,000 and then dyed my hair green, managed to persuade a family friend to do that for me and dyed my hair green. So I'm sure if you manage to find me anywhere on social media or through some of the pictures on Green, there will be a picture of me with green hair somewhere. I wanted to do something that kind of had the connection to green. So I wanted it to, make sense and have some sort of theme around it. So I knew I wanted to do something green. So I think the best way to do it is push yourself out your comfort zone, find something where people are going to relate to it, get involved, and be happy to fundraise it, give you some money for it. Social media was the biggest one. I shared it a lot through Facebook, and then I tried to connect to my kind of professional network throughout uni and throughout my placements that I've had with companies. So I posted it on LinkedIn. I think those two are my major ones where I managed to get a lot from. But again, there was other avenues I didn't tap into. I think email would have been great to get it around university a bit more. And again, maybe I floated about at one point trying to get it into like a local paper and see if people through that would do it. There's lots of avenues. I only managed to tap into a few, but yeah, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn were the big hitters.
We have two payment options for our program. One is a full payment where you can save up front. If you can pay in full, you'll be able to save up front and have a lower program fee. And also we have a 3-step payment plan, which looks like you'd be locking in to a full program fee, but you'll be able to cut your program fee into 3 payments, which the first payment is your $500 deposit. And then a second payment that's due 4 weeks after the date that you put down your deposit. And then the final payment is due 6 weeks before the start date of your program. If there's any interesting sales going on, we will provide that information to our accepted students at the time that that's happening. But in general, our programs have those 2 payment options with that savings on the full payment, if that's feasible for you. And for most of those, that's about $400 in savings with paying in full. There's that 3-step payment plan to cut it up into 3 payments.
If I could leave you guys with one piece of advice, it is, if there is a will, there is a way. I did have some troubles like financing at first, and then I went out and I reached out to the sustainability department and I got a pretty big grant, and it basically got me all the way to Iceland. So if you reach out and you're not afraid to just go after it, then it should be no problem at all.
Just take that step forward. I mean, you get so much more from it that you expect, and especially I think the most important thing that I got from the program is you find that sense of purpose from it. Once you are traveling to an unknown country with a lot of people that you don't know and that you meet on the first day, and everything is pretty new, and I don't know, I just feel that once you share your points of view with everyone else and start feeling like there's other people out there that think the same way that you do, it's an awesome feeling to go back and start to make change.
And I've never been that scared in my whole life, but it was the type of scary that like kind of just brings you like the life you like. I've never felt anything ever or never seen anything like it before.
Like the beauty is completely unmatched, and just like standing on top of the mountains and the highlands and looking at everything, you felt so small, but in the absolute best way. You're just looking at everything. Like all I could think about was, yeah, of course I care about this. Like, of course I want to save this and like help with the transition towards like renewable energy.